Hey guys, Jorge here and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to share how to record guitars in 6 steps. First step is to make sure your guitar is ready. So you want to have fresh strings, intonation set up right, string action, also not making any unwanted noises and comfortable to play. And also this fret wrap right here is also important to keep the string noises muted over here. Or if you're playing lead parts, then you can just mute open string noises that might occur as well. Next step is to check your input level. So you want to aim for -6 to -3 dBs to avoid clipping and also noise in case you have a signal that is too low. Let's check my input signal right now. I'm here in Cubase, but this applies to pretty much every DAW out there. Let me open the monitor and open my mix console so I can see my input channel here. Let's see. So as you can see here, I'm hitting -4 dBs, so we're fine. Now it's time to dial some tone. So for these guitars, I'm using 14 Namely Suite X plugin from Neural DSP, and pretty much the default settings. I just lowered a little bit the gain here, and I've activated the hex drive as well, also the zoom, noise gate, just to keep things a little bit tighter. And I also changed the second microphone here to the ribbon one. I like it more than the others. Also in the EQ section, I've tamed a little bit of the highs here just to get rid of some harshness that always appear over here. No reverb for now, no delays, because I'll add them later. One thing that I always consider when recording guitars and dialing tones is to make sure I have the closest tone to the final one as possible, because that can definitely influence how my performance will be. So I may play harder if the gain is too low, or play softer if the gain is too high. So make sure you don't change a lot the tone after recording. Of course, with the DI you can do everything you want, but just keep that in mind when recording guitars. So let's hear how it's sounding. Now comes the fun part of actually recording. Actually, the whole process is fun, at least for me. But you want to make sure you are warmed up, you rehearsed the song, you're confident on what you're playing, and you have clear note definition when playing. You know, don't leave any unnecessary notes hanging, open strings and things like that, because that will make a huge difference in the final product. As you can see here, I have 2 tracks, one painted all to the left and the other one painted all to the right. This is very common for rock and metal genres. Another trick is to use 4 or even more tracks these days to achieve certain sounds. And you can combine multiple amplifiers, multiple cabinets, maybe not use cabinets at all in some of the tracks. All right, let's hit record. Okay, now the other side. I'm happy with that, so let's move on to the next step, which is editing. For this basic editing, you want to make sure you remove all the silences, like here at the beginning and in the ending, like that. You also want to add some fade-ins and fade-outs to avoid unwanted noises, especially when you add effects or, with the compression and everything else that goes throughout the mix. Here at the beginning as well, very small fade-ins just to avoid any unwanted noises when the track starts. Besides that, this is the time to fix any differences in timing. I mean, of course, there are differences in timing when you play two different takes, and that is what actually gives the width effect of double track guitars. But if you have something that, you know, maybe is too distracting, then this is the time to fix it. As well as any notes that you play wrong. You might want to just record again, but maybe for some lead parts, if you have some bends that, you know, are slightly out of tune, then you might be able to fix in this phase. If you think this content is useful, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel so I can make more videos like this. The next step is to work on the EQing and mix of this guitar, if you are working on a mix context, of course. In this case, I have some bass track and a drum track. Let's hear how it's sounding. Wow. So the first thing I like to do when mixing guitars is to leave more space for the bass. So usually I apply a high pass filter here around 100 Hz, 110, 15, depends on the mix. And this is pretty useful to remove any muddiness that you might have on the low end. So let's hear it bypassed and then on. Pretty similar approach to the high end, so I've applied a low pass filter around 7K here, just to get rid of some frequencies that doesn't add anything to the guitar tone. Actually, if it adds something, it's just harshness, so we cut them off, and here's how it sounds. Let me solo it so you can maybe hear it more clearly. We still have some harshness there, and that's why we have this little cut here around 3.5 kilohertz. So let me activate the EQ so we can check it before and after as well. A lot more control already, but we still have some frequencies there that are kind of annoying. So here I have some whistle frequencies that I've cut. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll exaggerate it so you can hear it better. Hopefully you are already hearing. So I like to remove it just enough so I cannot hear it anymore, you know, not overdoing anything because you might, you know, kill the guitar tone. Let's hear it in the mix. A lot better, in my opinion. This region right here around 100 Hz was clashing a little bit with the bass, and the palm muting was too loud. So I added some cut here in this region as well. So hopefully you heard that the palm muting there on the low notes were a little bit tamed. Another thing that I like to do when mixing guitars is to add a little bit of tape saturation and also a little bit of compression, just to make those two takes a little bit more glued together and, you know, the guitar sound more tight. Let's hear the final result. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something today. And if you did, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And also, if you want me to go more in depth in any of the subjects that I've mentioned here today, like guitar mixing, EQing, or maybe bass recording, drum programming, all of the stuff, please leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I'll make a video about that too. And I see you in the next video.